inviting us into your home and letting us say thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So we were talking to your son, and so my father, we lost my dad in '99, but if he were alive, he'd be 99. So you guys are the same vintage, and my family story, and there's two I think you'll get a kick out of. So one is my dad was supposed to go to World War II, and his brother got killed. So my uncle got killed in World War II. Then Grandpa got a deferment, and then so Dad stayed home on the farm, and then he stayed home until like he was 25, and then he had met my mom. He got drafted for the Korean War, so he was in the Korean War, and the fun part was he'd tell a few stories, not a lot, but. So he was 25, and most everybody else was 17, 18, 19. So what do you think his nickname was? Pops. He was and then we were talking about farming, and you have memories with the horse and the plow, right?
Right?
Yeah.
A
So,
little bit, not very much.
so
I grew up in Omaha most of my life.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so my grandpa was a World War I veteran. And then he started farming with horse and plow. And on the north end of the Capitol is a mural with the farmer right before you go into the governor's office. So it's pretty cool for me because there's a mural of a farmer and a plow and 2 oxen, not 2 horses. So I think of Grandpa all the time. So when Dad always told the story, and pardon this French, you guys. So but he always told the story the first time Grandpa drove a tractor. So. First time Grandpa drove a tractor, he's going to cry. He loved his horses, but think about a change going from horses to a tractor, and he's driving that tractor. He's getting close to the fence, started getting really nervous, and all he could say is, "Whoa, you son of a bitch, whoa!" And he drove right through the fence. So I think that's a good lesson for all of us. We can keep driving through the fence, but we can keep adapting and moving on. So.
When I first came up here, we were still feeding cattle out in the yard with a team of horses and a wagon.
Wow.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. And
But that didn't last too long, and we went to tractors and a self-unloading wagon.
Yeah.
Well, you worked with plows, horse and plows down south of Oakland when you were little,
Yeah.
when you were in high school and would come up here in the summer.
So I grew up in the '60s, and Dad always fed a couple potloads of cattle. But in the '60s, you'd scoop the silage onto the wagon, and then you'd scoop it off, and everything was physical. I remember when we got a loader and a little feed wagon. Holy cow!
What a deal.
That was a heck of a deal.
Now you grew up near
I grew up west of Platte Center.
Platte Center.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where home is. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you knew the Hazelbrooks.
Excuse me.
You knew the Hazelbrooks?
Oh, Hasselbrooks,
Yeah.
a ton of Hasselbrooks. They lived in the rich part. We lived out in the Clay Hills west of Platte Center. They were in Grand Prairie, east of Highway 81, really flat, really good land. So, yeah. We
We
always
got to
called
know.
those guys all the rich guys.
Rich Hazelbrooks.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, this is really, so John Hildred, who our Department of Veteran Affairs, and this is really an extraordinary privilege. So I think that there's about 250 of your comrades who served in World War II that are still living. And so this being the 80th year of the anniversary of winning the war, May 8th was Victory Day in Europe. 80 years ago. So our goal is to get out and be able to say thank you to as many folks as possible. The oldest that I've been able to meet is kind of cool. So you're just getting started. He was 108.
Oh, wow.
108. So you got
I'll never make it.
Oh, never say never. You never know. Your bride looks like she's 68. So for crying out loud.
Yesterday you
You can stay
presented
for
a
lunch.
to a fellow who was 99. And I knew that family
Oh,
at
nice.
Central High.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll be darned. Awesome. So this is really so. The most important thing is that what's awesome is all your family's here.
Yes.
And
And
so,
neighbors.
so there's really
Neighbors,
two
yeah.
goals with doing this. Number one, on behalf of Nebraska, say thank you, because without the greatest generation,
I think she wants to look in
where
here.
would we all be?
Over here.
It's extraordinary. I'm getting goosebumps. So thank you. But then number two, really, really important, that you tell the stories so we all understand what it took for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and we never ever forget that we keep it alive. So, the greatest generation didn't want to tell very many stories, so it's important that we get them so your family and your grandbabies and your great grandbabies, know what was going on. So that's the goal of it. And so this is a medallion that we put together on behalf of Nebraska. It's the sower on top of the Capitol as a
Very cool.
an token of appreciation from Nebraska for being part of the greatest generation and all your sacrifice. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And then we have a certificate that just simply says State of Nebraska, World War II recognition to John Kruse, signed by myself and John Hildred of the Department of Veterans Affairs. So this is, so we're really, really grateful.
I can't think of a friend of mine who's still living that joined the Army or the Navy when I did. They're all gone.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you know of any, do you have any other friends that were comrades that are alive here in Nebraska yet, World War II veterans that you know of?
Okay, thank you.
So I think
One of them lived in Hebron. Jim Kenner was a close friend of mine. He has died.
yeah. There's been fascinating stories, and one came out in one of the in Genoa, which is close to my hometown. His name is Benny. I can't pull it up now, but his story was really fascinating. So he started telling the story, and none of his family had heard it. He was stationed in the Philippines, and they were. He said, I lived in a foxhole for 6 months, and he said one day he woke up and his arm hurt, and the next day it was 3 times the size. They took him away. He said he got 39 shots. I don't remember how long, but when he was coming back, the guy driving him back to where they were, the battlefield, said, I don't know, you either need to thank your God or you need to thank the snake that bit you, because since you've been gone, all of your comrades have been killed.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my gosh.
Yeah, so, and that was a story none of their family knew.
It's incredible.
And so those are important, I just heard, Suzanne and I got to be home on Memorial Day, and we talked to the veterans for Memorial Day service, and there were a bunch of people that I knew, and one guy from Platte Center said, as we were leaving, he said, Jim, he goes, that story about your dad's really amazing. And I go, well, what's that? And he said about how he turned down a Purple Heart. And I go, tell me about that. I knew. So my dad turned down a Purple Heart because he was on the front lines in Korea. They were in foxholes a lot, but their camp got shelled. So as they were running, they just took off running, and it didn't have shoes. He cut his feet real bad. But they were going to give him a Purple Heart. He said, "No, I'm not taking a Purple Heart for cutting my feet." I thought that's pretty cool. That told me a lot about my dad's heart, his character, and I find it out 25 years after he's passed. So, anyway, those are things. So we're really, really grateful, and you look fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for your service. Thanks for who you are. Really, really cool stuff. Really good stuff.
And I want to say one more thing, Andy, who was in contact with.
Yep.
Anyway, he's responsible for this. And he is also, and when John was in Guam, he was in the Seabees,
Yeah.
and he helped in the building of runways. And Andy flies his plane into on there, and he always thanks John for the runway.
That's great, that's great.
So you're reliving isn't it? That's
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
cool. Congratulations. Yeah,
And
so thanks
grandson
for
Jeff
sharing
did
those. That's
too.
pretty awesome.
And their son Jack did too, didn't
That
he?
is awesome.
When I was gone, there were still Japs in the mountains, they called them, there were hills,
Yeah.
who didn't know that the war was over. And every now and then they'd shoot down to the highway, and then whatchamacallit, that's the highway patrol.
Marine Corps.
They'd go up into the mountains and find them, or try to find them.
Try to and say, hey, it's over. It's over.
Go home.
Settle down.
Get your guns down.
Yeah.
And how many years were you overseas?
2
2 years. Yeah.
44 to 46.
I enlisted for, what do they call it, maternity, something like that.
Where you enlisted when you were 17.
Yeah, his dad took him to the
When did you
office.
guys get married?
69.
Cool.
Our anniversary's today.
Awesome.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
that's right.
We both had 2 marriages.
I see.
We don't talk about those anymore.
Yeah, there's no sense